You have big dreams, not casual dreams, not it would be nice dreams. I'm talking about the kind of dreams that follow you into the shower, into your commute, into the quiet seconds before sleep. You can see yourself winning with uncomfortable clarity. The work you're proud of, the body you want, the money you want, the confidence you want, the person you want to become. Sometimes it feels so vivid that your brain reacts like it's already real. And that's exactly why your current life feels so heavy. Because when it's time to actually do the work, you freeze. You don't even choose to stop. It just happens. You delay. You hesitate. You bargain with yourself. Tomorrow I'll start. After lunch I'll lock in. When I feel motivated, it'll be easy. When the timing is right, I'll go all in. And tomorrow comes. And you repeat the same day again. If this is you, I want you to understand something. You are not lazy. Lazy people don't feel guilt. Lazy people don't feel pain at night replaying what they avoided. Lazy people don't have a vision so clear that it hurts. You do. So what is this? This is an invisible system, a loop, a pattern, a psychological mechanism that quietly rewards avoidance and punishes action. And the reason it feels so personal is because it lives inside your mind. It hides under normal words like tired, not in the mood, overwhelmed, not ready. But it's not those things. It's deeper. Let me paint the picture. You wake up with good intentions. You tell yourself, today is the day. You feel that clean, fresh motivation for a moment. That feeling is real. Then your brain reaches for comfort. You check your phone just for a second. You scroll just to wake up. You watch just one video. Your brain gets a hit of dopamine, instant reward, instant relief, no effort, no risk, no uncertainty. And that moment teaches your nervous system a lesson. Comfort is available right now. Discomfort can be avoided right now. 5 minutes becomes 30. 30 becomes an hour. Now you feel behind. You feel pressure. You feel guilt. So you do what your brain has been trained to do. You avoid the feeling. You clean something. You answer a random message. You do a small task that looks productive but doesn't move your life forward. You consume more content. You promise yourself you'll get serious later. Later becomes evening. Evening becomes night. And at night, you do something you're strangely good at, imagining. You plan the perfect comeback story in your head. You picture the perfect routine. You rehearse a version of yourself that finally gets it together. And that fantasy gives you relief. Then you fall asleep with a temporary sense of hope. And the next day, the same loop begins again. This is the invisible system. And here's what most people get wrong. They think procrastination is a time management problem. It's not. Procrastination is an emotion management problem. You are not avoiding the work. You are avoiding the feelings the work creates. The feeling of uncertainty. The feeling of effort. The feeling of being judged. The feeling of being a beginner. The feeling that you might try and still fail. Your brain interprets those feelings as threats. And your brain is not designed to make you fulfilled. It's designed to keep you safe. Your brain doesn't care that your dream matters. It cares that discomfort feels risky. Effort feels like energy loss. Uncertainty feels like danger. Failure feels like social rejection. And social rejection used to be deadly. So when you sit down to act, your brain doesn't see opportunity. It sees threat. And threats trigger avoidance. That's why you freeze. Not because you're weak. Because the survival system is doing its job. It pulls you toward comfort, toward the easiest reward, toward anything that removes pressure. And every time you escape, you get relief. Relief is addictive. Because relief teaches your brain, avoidance works. And once your brain learns something works, it repeats it automatically. This is why it feels like you can't make yourself move. But there's a darker layer. Avoidance doesn't just steal time. It steals identity. Because every day you don't act, you reinforce a belief. I'm the kind of person who doesn't follow through. I'm the kind of person who wastes potential. I'm the kind of person who starts later. I'm the kind of person who talks more than I do. And identity is powerful. Your brain protects identity even when it hurts. If your identity is, I'm inconsistent, your brain will unconsciously search for proof. It will notice every failure more than every win. It will treat one bad day as confirmation that change is impossible. That's how people stay stuck for years. Now let's talk about the second invisible system, perfectionism. Because a lot of ambitious people aren't stuck because they don't want it. They're stuck because they want it in a perfect form. They want the perfect plan, the perfect timing, the perfect setup, the perfect mood, the perfect version of themselves. So they wait, and they call it preparation. But perfectionism is not excellence. Perfectionism is fear wearing a suit. Because if you never start, you never fail. If you never try, you never get exposed. If it stays in your head, it stays flawless. Fantasy stays clean. Reality is messy. Reality has bad drafts. Reality has awkward attempts. Reality has slow progress and boring repetition. So perfectionism becomes the most intelligent excuse to avoid action. It whispers, not yet, not like this, not until it's right. And you believe it, until weeks become months. Months become years. And suddenly you've spent more time imagining the life you want than building it. Now here's the truth that cuts through everything. Failure is not the opposite of success. Inaction is. Failure gives feedback. Inaction gives regret. When you fail, you learn. When you do nothing, you become someone who does nothing. Every successful person you admire has failed more than you've tried. The difference isn't talent. It's movement. They moved before they felt ready. They acted while scared. They took imperfect action and let reality shape them. And you can do the same. But you need to stop relying on motivation. Because motivation is a feeling. Feelings are unstable. They rise and fall with sleep, stress, mood, weather, confidence, attention. You cannot build a life on motivation. You build a life on systems. Discipline is not a trait you're born with. Discipline is the result of repeated behavior. And repeated behavior becomes identity. So the real goal is not be motivated. The real goal is be the kind of person who acts even without motivation. That's the shift. Here's how you break the loop. You stop trying to win the whole day. Most people fail because they think change requires a perfect day, a perfect morning routine, a perfect schedule, a perfect mindset, a perfect plan. That's perfectionism again. What you really need is one win, one small action that creates evidence. Because your brain doesn't need a miracle. It needs proof. Proof that you are not the same person anymore. So you start small. Not because you're weak, because small is how you bypass the survival system. 15 minutes, one paragraph, one workout set, one email, one page, one uncomfortable phone call, small enough that your brain can't panic. Because if you try to do too much, your brain will perceive it as a threat, and it will shut you down. So you choose a size of action that you can do even on a bad day. That's the key. If your plan only works when you feel amazing, your plan is fake. Real plans work when you feel tired. Now, while you're acting, your brain will try to negotiate. It will say, this is pointless. This won't matter. You should do more than that. Start later when you can do it properly. You're not in the right mood. You deserve a break. That voice isn't truth. It's the old system protecting itself. Your job is not to argue with it. Your job is to act anyway. Because action is not a debate. Action is a decision. And every time you act while resistance is present, you rewire the loop. You teach your brain, discomfort is not danger. Effort is not death. Uncertainty is survivable. I can trust myself. That's what discipline actually is. Not intensity, trust. Trust built through repetition. Now let's talk about environment, because this is where people either win or stay stuck. If your phone is near you, you will touch it. If notifications are on, you will check them. If your workspace is messy, you will feel scattered. If your day has no structure, you will drift. This is not a moral failure. This is design. Your environment is a behavior machine. It produces outcomes whether you like it or not. So stop asking yourself to be stronger. Start making distraction harder. Put your phone in another room. Turn off notifications. Remove the apps that hijack your attention. Clean your workspace. Close the extra tabs. Make focus the default. Because every distraction you remove is one less decision you have to fight. And decision fatigue is real. Most people don't fail because they lack willpower. They fail because they spend willpower on everything. They wake up and immediately start making choices. Scroll or not scroll. Work or avoid. Start or delay. By noon, their brain is exhausted. So they choose comfort. Not because they're bad, because they're depleted. Design fixes this. Now here's another uncomfortable truth. You might be consuming too much self-improvement. Videos about discipline, podcasts about success, articles about productivity, books about habits. And it feels like progress, but often it's progress-flavored avoidance, because learning is safe. Execution is risky. Your brain chooses safe. But you already know what to do. You don't need more information. You need practice, yet you need reps. You need to produce. And yes, your first attempts will be bad. Your first drafts will be ugly. Your first videos will feel awkward. Your first results will be slow. That's not a flaw. That's the price of entry. Every expert was once a beginner. Every masterpiece started as a rough version. You don't become good by thinking. You become good by producing. Now let me give you a story. Imagine two people. Person A is obsessed with the perfect start. They wait for the perfect plan. They wait for motivation. They wait until confidence appears. Person B starts ugly. Person B writes the bad draft. Person B does the 10 minutes. Person B makes the first version. Person B posts before it's perfect. Person B repeats. After 1 week, Person A has fantasy. Person B has evidence. Evidence is more powerful than inspiration because evidence changes identity. Person B is no longer someone who wants to. Person B is someone who does. Now let's talk about what happens when you slip, because you will. You'll miss a day. You'll waste time. You'll fall back into old patterns. Here's where most people lose permanently. Not because they slipped, because they interpret the slip as identity. I knew it. I'm lazy. I'm broken. I can't change. That thought is poison. So here's the rule. Progress is not perfection. Progress is returning. The winners aren't the people who never fail. They're the people who return faster. One bad day does not become a bad week. One mistake does not become collapse. They reset. Here's a reset protocol. When you mess up, do not punish yourself. Punishment creates shame. Shame creates avoidance. Avoidance repeats the loop. Instead, do one small corrective action immediately. 5 minutes counts. 1 paragraph counts. 1 small action breaks the identity spiral. It tells your brain, I slipped, but I'm still in control. I'm still the person who returns. Now we reach the final truth. You are not going to feel like doing it. You will not wake up every day excited to do hard things. So stop waiting to feel ready. Act while resistance exists. Because that's the moment that rewires you. Every time you act with resistance present, you teach your brain something new. Discomfort is not danger. Action is safe. I can trust myself. And that is how the invisible system breaks. So here is what I want you to do. Not tomorrow, not next week, not when your mood improves. Today. After this video ends, do one thing, not 10 things. Not a life overhaul, one thing, one small action that moves you forward. Then tomorrow, do one more. And the next day, do one more. Momentum will grow, and one day you'll realize something quietly powerful. You don't need motivation anymore. You have identity. You are no longer the person who delays. You are the person who acts, and that changes everything. You have spent enough time imagining the life you want. Now it's time to build it, one decision at a time, one action at a time, starting now.